Welcome to this video for lesson 1.9 on solving and graphing inequalities. Please remember to complete your note sheet while you watch the video. Let's start here. So, first things first, inequalities. We've talked about how to write them using the inequality symbols instead of the equal sign. Let's talk about how we're going to graph them, and this may be a review for some of you. If not, follow along. So, when you're graphing an inequality, you are to use an open circle for a less than or a greater than sign, okay? And a closed circle, circle, for a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to sign. Now, when I say an open circle, I mean something like this. And when I say a closed circle, I mean something like this, a filled-in circle. Okay? So let's look at these simple inequalities on the bottom and how we would graph them. So for number 1, x is less than 3. Okay? So we're going to put an open circle because this is a less than. So we'll put an open circle at 3. That's the boundary point. And we're looking for numbers less than 3, so we're going to go drawing an arrow in the direction of the numbers less than 3. All right, let's look at number 2. This is a greater than symbol. Okay, so we're going to use an open circle, as we said, at the boundary point, which is -1. Okay, and this says greater than, so we're going to look at the numbers greater than that number, so the numbers to the right. On a number line, the numbers to the left are less, the numbers to the right are greater. Okay, so let's look at number 3. X is greater than or equal to 4. We're going to put a closed circle at 4 because it's a greater than or equal to. And we're looking for numbers larger than 4, greater than, or equal to. So we're going to go in the greater than direction to the right. Number 4. We've got x is less than or equal to -6. So I'm going to put a closed circle there at -6, that's the boundary point, and we're looking for numbers less than it or equal to, so we're going to go in the less than direction. So that's the basics for graphing inequalities. Let's just work in the other direction. If we're given an inequality, we should also be able to write, if we're given the graph of an inequality, we should be able to write the inequality that goes with it. So let's look at number 5. The boundary point is 13, okay, and we're looking at numbers less than it, okay? It's an open circle, so I'm not going to put the or equal to underneath it. I'm just going to stop there with x is less than 13. All right, let's look at number 6. I see the boundary point is 7, okay? I'm looking at numbers greater than 7 because I'm on the greater than side, and it's a filled-in circle, so I'm going to go greater than or equal to, closed circle. Number 7. Boundary point is at -18. Okay, I've got x and -18 to figure out the inequality symbol. It's a filled-in circle, so I know there's going to be an or equal to, and it looks like they're less than or equal to -18 because we're going in the less than direction. Okay, notice that this arrow is pointing in the same direction as this inequality symbol. I don't know if that's helpful, but just something to notice. Number 8. Number 10, we've got 10 as the boundary point, all right, and we're looking at numbers greater than 10. There's an open circle, so I'm not going to put the or equal to. All right, so that's going in the other direction from graph to inequality. All right, so the last part for today is to talk about how to solve an inequality to get it into that simple form like we had, like just an x and a number with an inequality symbol. So we'll solve them like equations. So the rules for solving inequalities is you must flip the inequality symbol when you multiply or divide by a negative number. This is super important to remember, okay? I'm going to bubble this in and I'm going to say important. This is really important. All right, you have to remember to flip the inequality symbol if you multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay, if you add or subtract a negative number, it doesn't matter. It's only if you multiply or divide a negative number. So let's look at number 9. All right, we're going to solve this like we solved our equations on a previous lesson. So we'll look at 3x plus 2 is less than negative 4. We're going to treat it like an equation. We need to eliminate the constant term first, so we'll subtract the 2 from both sides, and we'll be left with 3x is less than negative 6. We will divide both sides by 3. Notice that we're dividing by 3. That's a positive number, so we do not need to flip the inequality symbol. Even though we had a negative 6 and a negative 2 in our answer, we did not multiply or divide by a negative number, so we leave it alone. No flipping. So I'm going to put negative 2. I like to put it right in the middle of my number line where I'm going to be graphing it. That's going to be an open circle because it does not have an or equal to. And I'm looking for numbers less than, so I'm going to go in this direction. Okay? So we're putting together what we've done with solving equations to solve these inequalities. So let's look at number 10. Again, we're going to eliminate the constant term that's over there with the x first. We're going to get rid of that number by subtracting 2 from both sides. We'll get x over 6 is greater than negative 1. Okay? And now we're going to multiply both sides by 6 because we had x over 6 is like x divided by 6. So we'll get x is greater than negative 6. Notice I multiplied by a positive 6, no need to change the sign. So I'll put a negative 6, negative 5, negative 4. That is an open circle, and we're looking for numbers greater than, so we're going to go in that direction. Okay? Let's try some more examples. Let's see if we can get some examples where we're flipping things. So let's take a look at number 11. All right? 11, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. Okay? And now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7 to get that x by itself. Notice I'm dividing by a negative number here. Okay? Notice that. Look at me, it says. So what I've got here is x, and I'm going to flip the direction of the sign. It was less than or equal to, now it's greater than or equal to 1. All right? So I'm going to put 1 in the middle here. I'm going to fill in a closed circle at 1 because it's greater than or equal to, and then I'm going to go in the greater than direction. All right? And there we have it. Okay? So that was an example with flipping. Let me put this here, flip. All right, let's take a look at number 12. All right, I see x over negative 8, that's division, minus 5. So I'm going to do the add 5 to both sides to get the x over 8, x over negative 8 by itself. Okay, and finally I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 8. Okay, again, this is multiplying by a negative number. We need to flip it. So what we're going to get here is x is greater than negative 24. So I'll put a negative 24 on my number line. Okay, open circle at negative 24, and I'm going in the greater than direction. Okay. So I'm going to do number 15 now. Okay. And then I'll leave maybe I'll do 15 and 16. So let's look at 15. First things first, I want to get the negative 4x term alone. So I need to get rid of this constant term. That's a positive 3, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides in order to eliminate it, because 3 minus 3 will cancel out. Notice that I need to bring that negative with my 4x when I bring it down. Okay? So I'm going to point that out again. This negative sign does not go away. It comes down here with the 4x. Okay. Now I need to divide both sides by negative 4. I'm dividing by a negative. I need to flip. And I'll get x is greater than negative 7. So I'll put a negative 7 on my number line. It'll be an open circle because it doesn't have an or equal to. And I see that it's greater than, so I'm going to go in the greater than direction where the numbers get bigger. And there we have it. Okay? Let's try number 16. I like this one because it's got the fraction 3/4 in there, and let's remember how to deal with that. So 16, we're first going to eliminate this plus 5 because that's the constant term. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I'll get 3/4 x is greater than 6. Okay, as you may recall from a previous video, in order to eliminate this 3/4, we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which means flip that fraction over and multiply by it. We'll get x, and we multiplied by a positive, so we're not flipping any sign here. We're simply taking the fraction and multiplying by the reciprocal. And this is going to be 6 times 4/3, that's 8. Feel free to use a calculator if you're not sure about your fraction operations. And that's going to be an open circle at 8, and it says greater than, so I'm going to go in the greater than direction. Okay. Again, key points, if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you need to change the direction of the inequality. You need to flip it. That's the key point for this one. So please do complete your check-in, and I'll see you in class.